So let's just admit it. The Miami Dolphins are trying to play chess with a puzzle missing half the pieces. You watch it all unfold, piece by piece, and you start to wonder, is there a plan here? Or are we just reacting in real time to disasters that we created last season and refused to deal with in the first place? Let's get the obvious out of the way. The secondary, a beautiful mess. You lose Ramsey, lose Javon, gamble on names people have to Google, and suddenly the defensive backfield is a patchwork of maybe and hopefully. And sure, there's always the loud echo of trust the process. But how long are we supposed to wait for that process to actually make sense? Xavier Howard's gone, and nobody's even whispered his name like he's Voldemort. And we're pretending Cam Smith is gonna magically blossom just because the lights are brighter now. If that's the master plan, then we're not building a roster, we're manifesting one. Storm Duck? Jason Marshall Jr.? It's like we're drafting Marvel characters instead of cornerbacks. And while we're being honest, if the Dolphins walked into the season today with this secondary, they're daring teams to throw the deep ball all day. And why wouldn't they? Who's stopping them? Melifonwu? Maybe. Davis? Could be. Campbell McMorris? Cool stories. But stories don't win you games when Josh Allen is staring down your rookie. Now you'd think, well, if the secondary is chaos, surely the front seven is locking it down. Is it though? Christian Wilkins is a memory now. We got some bulk, sure. But what's the point of clogging the line if no one trusts the coverage behind them? It's like building a wall with windows made of paper. And don't get started on linebacker depth. We're living in a world where the solution to the rotation might be Kamara, if he rises from irrelevance like a phoenix. And that's the plan. That someone with a back-of-the-roster resume suddenly becomes a difference maker? Meanwhile, Agba's just sitting there like a forgotten chess piece. Do we even know what we want from this defense? People keep saying, well, at least we drafted for the trenches. Yeah, we did. And thank God. Because if we didn't, the season's already done. But let's not act like that's solving everything. Jonah at LG and Paul at LT could be solid, but solid isn't winning you the AFC East. And even that feels optimistic. You hope they can be consistent. You pray they stay healthy. You don't know. Speaking of health, let's talk about a chain. The guy's electric, right? Game changer. But he's not built to take a beating for 17 weeks. And if he goes down, what are we really working with here? Right, Gordon? Are we back to rolling the dice again, hoping the late-round guy becomes a stud because he has upside? And Tyreek, yeah, about that. You get the feeling he's not fully locked in. 1 foot in, 1 foot whispering about Pittsburgh. He leaves Tua out of his top QBs, and nobody blinks. What does that say? If your WR1 doesn't believe in the guy under center, why should the rest of us? But hey, we got weapons, right? Waddle, Hill, Berrios. That's not the issue. The issue is whether the guy throwing the ball survives long enough to use them. Because behind that line, Tua's basically living on borrowed time. And drafting Quinn Ewers in the 7th doesn't exactly scream insurance. It screams, just in case the sky falls, and we need a kid to run the offense with 3 weeks prep. That's not a plan. That's a panic button with a fresh coat of paint. And don't even think about depth. Offensive line depth is a rumor in Miami. Veteran guard? Still missing. Tackle help? Only if your prayers get answered after June 1st. Well, Hernandez and Dalton Reisner are just floating out there, but somehow we're okay pretending they don't exist. You start to wonder, are we allergic to solving problems? But you know what really gnaws at you? It's not just the holes. It's that nothing feels cohesive. This isn't a long-term vision. This isn't year 3 of the build. It's duct tape and hope. And it's been like this since 2019. Maybe before. One good draft doesn't fix 5 years of confusion. And the more you look at the AFC East, the more you realize it's not even about the secondary. Not really. The division is going to try to punch you in the mouth with the run game. Bills, Jets, Pats, all built to run first. If you can't stop that, it doesn't matter if you've got 11 Jalen Ramseys in the backfield. They'll never get the chance to cover anything. If your front seven folds, your secondary's already broken. So that's the test. Can we get physical? Can we win the line? Can we finally be the team that dictates terms, not responds to them? Because if not, this whole thing falls apart.